Now, this dress was almost a tragic failure, but somehow your girl managed to save it. So if you're curious to find out what went wrong with this dress and how I managed to fix it, then please keep on watching. Hey Stitches, your girl Kris here. Welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you are a subscriber to my little tiny space on the internet. In case you don't know, I am Kris and this is my channel on social where it is completely cool to obsess over everything sewing. I just wanted to stop and say I really appreciate your support. The continued likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the comments, all of it truly makes this YouTube journey worthwhile. Anyways, today is not about an emotional chat. I'm here to report to you on Vogue 9265, and I'll pop the envelope right here on screen. I do have the envelope in my hand, but the likelihood is you won't be able to see it well, so this option is always much better. Now, Vogue 9265 is a custom fit Vogue pattern. That means it comes with cup sizes for A cup, B cup, C cup, and D cup, and your girl loves those patterns that already have the cup sizes included. It means that it is one less adjustment for me to make. Now, this envelope that I have comes in a size 14 all the way up to 22, and I sewed, I think, a size 16 at the neckline, blended out to an 18 at the waist and hip line. Now, this pattern has a major flaw, and I didn't recognize it until I started working with the pattern itself. I actually came across, I think it was a video here on YouTube by T of Crumpets Tea and Sewing, and she mentioned that there might be something wrong with the skirt pieces, or maybe she had made a mistake. Now, that got your girl on guard. Unfortunately, I didn't see the video until after I had already cut out all my pieces. So when I went to construct it, I actually wanted to attach my skirt pieces to my bodice pieces first before I constructed the side seams. So I attached my front skirt to my front bodice, and as I said before, the fit was fine. The back bodice could not fit my back skirt. It was 1¼ inches too small, and so your girl ended up gathering down the back bodice pieces to fit the circumference of the skirt. Now, when I went back to check my pattern pieces, because you know your girl went back to double check if I had done something wrong, it turns out that the skirt pattern piece, although it tells you to cut 2, did not include the seam allowance for the center front seam and the center back seam. Now, obviously, I had to go ahead and do the center back seam because this dress closes with a center back zipper. It was only after I had cut my pieces apart, it occurred to me that maybe I should have left the skirt on the fold and inserted a side zipper instead. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of side zippers, but that would have saved me the 1¼ inches seam allowance that I would have saved by cutting my back piece on the fold. You guys, I really hope that I'm making sense. I almost feel like I'm rambling. The point is, the skirt piece of this pattern is 1¼ inches too small. So if you're going to work with this pattern, go ahead and add that 5/8 inch seam allowance down the center front seam so that when you cut out this pattern, you will have enough circumference for your skirt to match up the circumference of your bodice. Now, when I was making this up, I was posting all along on Instagram, and I was really scared, you guys, that I would not be able to fit into this dress. Seriously, because I had already sized down, I think, at the waistline because Vogue patterns usually run kind of big, and I checked the finished garment measurements and I thought that the size 18 would have been just fine for me at the waistline. So I know I didn't have much ease to play around with. Now, the finished garment measurements for the size 18 was 34½ inches at the waist. Now that is basically your girl's size. So that means I would have had very little ease to wiggle into this dress. Now, something else that I did to sort of create a little bit more width for my back pieces was I inserted the zipper right at the edge of my seam. So I did not move in the 5/8 inch on my back bodice. I trimmed off 1/4 1/4 inch of my back bodice, and then I attached the zipper right to the edge of what was left. And this was in an effort to save as much width as I could at the waistline. Now, in addition to those adjustments that I told you I had to make sort of on the whim because of the fault with this pattern, I had made some fitting adjustments previously. So I made my 1/2 inch sloping shoulder adjustment. I removed a 1/4 inch in length between my shoulder and my bust line at my bodice front. I shortened my waistline by 1/2 inch and did a 1/4 inch sway back adjustment. And then finally, because this is a princess seam, I went ahead and lowered the apex of the bust. Now, if I had not done that, the curvature that is meant to sit over the fullest part of the bust would have been too high for my boobs. So I went ahead and just lowered that. Now that is a pretty simple adjustment to make. It's as simple as creating a box around the apex of the pattern and dropping it down or raising it up if that might be your situation to the desired level. Now, as I said, I dropped mine down a 1/2 inch and it sits so nicely over the fullest part of my bust. At least it does, in my opinion. Now, so far as the waistline of the pattern is concerned, I was able to get into my dress. Truth be told, it is just a little bit snug around my waistline. Now, your girl usually does not like too much ease around the waistline for patterns that are intended to have a more fitted silhouette. So I wanted just maybe a 1/2 inch or so of ease in this dress. I did not get it because of the fault with the pattern, but I was able to zip the dress up, even though there was a little resistance right at the center back seam at the waistline. Now, the bodice of the dress is perfectly fine. In fact, I'm almost thinking that it is a tad bit too big. I could have taken off maybe just a 1/4 inch in width from the neckline. It is meant to be a wide and low neckline, but your girl does have sloping shoulders and I do have narrow shoulders as well. And so I just feel like it's a touch too long around the neckline. It's not a big deal. I'm sure if you're watching, you're probably thinking, what is she talking about? But for me, wearing the dress, I just feel like it could have been ever so slightly more snug to my neckline. Now, when I was cutting out this fabric, you guys, wait, before I tell you about cutting out the fabric, I should stop and mention that this fabric is gifted fabric. My girl Carol of Karosi Sews over on Instagram bought this fabric for me December 2023 as a Christmas gift. Now, I was able to pick it up when I went to Barbados back in March or April 2023, and it had been sitting in my stash since then. Now, when I buy my own fabrics, you guys, I don't mind if I make mistakes because at the end of the day, that's my money going down the drain. But when somebody else gifts me fabric, I am so aware of the fact that it has been a gift. I don't want to mess it up. So I try really, really, really hard to nail those patterns that I make up using gifted fabric. And so when I was working through this dress, I was getting so frustrated because I kept thinking, this is gifted fabric, this is gifted fabric. I need to figure out how to save it. Truth be told, if this was my own fabric, I probably would have just put this pattern and this make in the unfinished object pile, and it would have sat there languishing for God knows how long. But because it was gifted fabric, that was a little bit more motivation for me to try and get it sewn up and be able to wear it, because what would be the point of sewing it up if I couldn't fit inside it? It's not something that I would have wanted to give away to somebody else, and I'm definitely not selling it, so I really needed to squeeze into this dress. Now, other than the fault that I identified with the pattern, I am really happy with how this dress turned out. I think it is beautiful. The colors in this fabric are perfect for your girl. Now, if you did not know, I am a Twilight Winter. I did get my colors professionally done. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago by Your Color Guru. And so these lovely jewel tones, especially this purple and the teal, really, really do complement your girl quite nicely. So on a side note, if you do want to get your colors professionally done, you might want to consider using Your Color Guru, and you can use my affiliate code, which is on social. I'll pop it here on screen, and that will save you 10% off any color analysis. In my view, it is a really, really good investment. It is a little bit pricey, but in the long run, I think it is highly beneficial. Having my colors done has changed the way I shop for my fabrics and has also changed the way that I dress. obviously. Now, as I was saying, I really do like this dress. I do like this puff sleeve. Your girl likes to have a puff sleeve, and it does have elastic right at the sleeve hem, which makes it really comfortable. I tried not to pull my elastic too tight. Usually when I fit my elastic to my sleeves, I have a very snug fit around the sleeves, but I wanted to have a little bit of ease because I want to be able to move around the elastic hemline if I choose to. So I want to be able to raise it up a little bit more and give myself a little bit more volume, like this bag over effect. Or I was able to pull it down further and just remove a little bit more volume from the sleeve. But I think it's very comfortable and they look great in my opinion. Now, I love this skirt on this dress, although truth be told, I did not like hemming it. It is a circle skirt, which meant that I had it hanging on my dress form for a couple of days. And when I say a couple of days, you guys, I mean probably closer to a week or so, maybe even more, because I just did not want to go back in and level off the hem and then turn the hem on the circle skirt. Now, hemming is not my favorite task, you guys. As a matter of fact, finishing is not my favorite task. So turning under the lining of this dress and slip stitching it to the waistline took me days and days before I got around to doing it. And then a couple more days before I leveled off the hemline and actually hemmed this dress. Now, since I told you about slip stitching the waistline, I should also tell you that the dress is fully lined at the bodice, and I had to end up using some remnant fabric to do the center front panel of the lining. The rest of the bodice is self-lined with the same fabric, but I just did not have enough fabric left to cut out the center front piece. It's not a big deal. Nobody's ever gonna see it, and you would never be aware of it unless I told you. But I just thought I should let you guys know how good I was with using up all my fabric. Now, I did go ahead and cut pocket pieces for this skirt. It did not come with pocket pieces in this pattern, but your girl loves to have pockets, and I'm really disappointed, you guys, that I was not able to get my pockets in. And that is because I had to also reduce the seam allowance right down my side seam. So instead of sewing with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, your girl started with a 5/8 at the arm side and then came down to a 1/4 inch right at the waistline and just continued the 1/4 inch down the length of the dress. Again, I was really hunting for a little bit extra width that would allow me to get into this dress. Now, if I were to rate this dress, you guys, I would give it like an 8 out of 10 because it's a really beautiful dress now that it is done. Looking at it, I cannot wait to wear it to church. I think I can wear this if I get invited out to a cocktail or to a fancy party or something like that. But since that's not really your girl's lifestyle, this one is definitely going to be taken to the house of the Lord. She is beautiful and she's very modest. The sleeves are covered, and even though it shows just a little bit of skin around the neckline, I think that is perfectly fine for a church setting. What I did not like was the fact that the skirt was too small. I feel like if I had that extra bit of ease around the waistline, then it would have made for a much more comfortable dress to wear, and perhaps it would have looked a little bit better as well, because I am just kind of aware of my tummy. I feel like it is more pronounced in this dress because I did not have enough ease. So again, if you want to sew up this pattern, I would recommend you giving it a try because it is a really beautiful pattern. But just bear in mind that there is no seam allowance on the skirt center front and center back pieces. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention, and I did not mention, listen, I feel like I'm all over the place in this video, you guys. My mind is racing right now. But the last thing I wanted to mention is that this pattern comes with 2 different skirt lengths. So there's a shorter skirt and then there's a long skirt. Now, I simply cut out the length of the skirt based on the fabric that I have. So it's neither the short length or the long length. It's somewhere in between. I am experimenting, you guys, with longer length skirts for 2025. Often I like to have my skirts way up on my leg. Can you see? So I can have like a leg moment. I like to show a little bit of leg. That just makes me feel kind of sexy. Longer skirts have in the past made me feel kind of frumpy, but I actually like the length of this dress as is. When I put my heels on, I feel very elegant. I feel very womanly. and I would consider making another dress with this length. Now, you guys, I think that is all I wanted to share with you about this dress and about this make. I think I have gone through all of the important things, everything that you need to know if you want to make it. And so I think I'm going to love you and leave you. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. Drop me a comment down below and let me know, what do you think of this finished dress? Do you think it was worth all the additional effort to get it finished in a way that at least I can fit into it? Drop all the comments in the comment section down below and let us continue the conversation. Now, if you have gotten this far in this video and you're not yet a subscriber, then please also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning your notifications on so you never miss any of your girls' upcoming videos. Until next time, you guys, stay calm, stay cool, stay safe, and absolutely keep sewing. Peace.